Hello everybody. This is the animation demo video. We are going to be talking today about adding in the actual animated images for Mario. If you haven't watched the preceding videos, which were creating these key press events, go ahead and watch that video. If you've already watched this stuff, go ahead and skip on to the next video. Alright, so what we're going to need to do is create a jump and walking. It feels like that should be pretty easy based on what we've already got. I'm going to copy paste one of these whole things. Paste, paste, and paste. We're going to make 3 of them. So we've got our original 3 up here, and then I've got these 3 new ones down here. One of them is going to be for A, which is going to be walking left. I'm going to put a little note here that says walking left. One of these is going to be for walking right, and one of these is going to be for jumping. I want to keep in mind that you can use any keys for this. If you're not happy with using A and D for walking, you can just as easily switch it to U and O, or I and P, or even the left arrow and the right arrow, or else you'll have to do, or if you do though, you will have to do a little bit of research to find out what character those are considered. My guess is you'll actually have to use a different event, but either way, that's definitely researchable. So if I'm using A and D for moving, then I'll change walking right to D, and then jumping is going to be space, and in Visual Basic, we're going to actually literally type a space there. So it's not that there's nothing in there, it's that there's a space in there. Something I'm noticing, though, is that our walking right, D, is the same as our D for die. So I'm actually going to change the D for die to be, I don't know, something easily clickable. Oh, there's R. Okay. So A and D are going to be left and right. Let's start off by changing those. So my left step is called step 1 left. I also have a step 2 left though, and we'll deal with that in a second. So I'm going to say step 1 left, and the L is capitalized. Notice that. Same in the jumping. All right, for walking right, we're going to say step 1 right .png, and notice again the R is capitalized. And then for jumping, well, I guess we're gonna have to pick, do I want to use jump left or jump right? Let me start off with jump left, and then we'll do a quick test, and then we'll jump on to our next step. All right, let's go ahead and start. Okay, we've got R for our die, F for fall, I for this, space for jump, D for right, L for left, or A for left. And then we can switch between the two. What we want, though, is to make Mario move and animate through those steps as we're going. So, whenever we want to alternate something, we're usually going to want to, especially if it's alternating between 2 states, we're going to want a type of variable that only uses 2 options. And there are a lot of different types of data out there. One of those is strings. Strings are words. There are infinitely many word combinations you can make, so that's not going to work. Another data type are going to be numbers, integers, and decimals. Integer. That's going to be numbers. There are also infinitely many numbers, so that's not really going to work either. We could use a Boolean, which is true or false. That's only got 2 options. That's so far seeming the most promising. So if I'm alternating in between step 1 and step 2, I might want to do that. All right, so let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's create a variable, dim. We're going to call this step, or step num. Yeah, step num, because step is our, notice when I type it, it turns blue. It's because step is already a saved word. So we're going to say step num. So the number of the step we're on. Are we on step 1 or step 2? We're going to save that as a Boolean, which means it's true or false. And we're going to start it off with a value. I'm going to give it true. It does not matter which. Okay. Then, for both of these, for your steps left and steps right, we're going to need to check whether step num is true or false. And that's going to determine if this is going to be a 1 or if this is going to be a 2. Before we do that, though, we need the thing that's actually going to alternate us through these steps. As it is, every time I hit A, I guess let's put this code in there just to see what it would look like. We would change step num to be the opposite of whatever it is. So I'm going to say not step num. So if step num is currently true, it's going to say it's not true, which is false. If it's false, it's going to say it's not false, which is true. So this is called a toggle, and it's going to alternate between the two states for step num. I'm going to put the same line in here, and then we'll see what happens as we click these. Oh, actually, let's add in the additional line, the actual conditional statement. So what we're going to create is what me and a lot of other people call a nested if. This is conditional statements within conditional statements. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say if step num is true, and those of you who are watching who know a little bit of coding know that there's a more efficient way of doing this. I don't actually have to say equals true. I'm just doing this for education purposes. So if step num is true, we're going to do step 1. If it's not true, then we want to do step 2. The way we're going to do this, though, is instead of making another if statement, I'm going to use the keyword else. Else means this will always happen if this does not. So, but if this does happen, it'll skip it. So what else does is means no matter what something's going to happen, it's either going to be this or it's going to be this. So if step num is true, then it'll do this. The only other option for that is if step num is false. So if it's false, I'm going to do step 2. Before we move this over to moving right, let's check this out. So I'm going to hit A. And if I keep hitting A, it will alternate between the two. And if I hold down A, it'll alternate really, really, really quickly. That's not exactly what we're looking for, but it's a good first step. So let's do that. Let me take this code, copy it, and then replace this code. I still want the step num is not step num. And then we'll put it in for D, except I need to change the word left to the word right, remembering to keep it capitalized. All right. Now we should check that. Left, right, R, F, space, and I. So far looking so good. We still need to get these steps to happen automatically, and then we need to implement jumping. But I'm going to do that in the next video.